Hey everyone, hope you can hear me. I'm wearing a mask. Let's apply the quadratic formula. Now I'm going to write some stuff down that you don't need to write down, right? I'm going to say, note that A equals 15, B equals 34, and C equals negative 16 for the quadratic formula. You don't need to write that sentence down, okay? We know what A, B, and C are. I'm just writing it down because this is the first time we're using the quadratic formula. So we're going to have that x equals, and we're just plugging in the formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of 34 squared, right, b squared, minus 4ac, all over 2a, right? Just plugging stuff into the formula. Now, let's try to reduce this a little bit, okay? Negative 34 plus or minus the square root of, never hurts to do some arithmetic, right? This is an algebra class, right? Do a little bit of quick stuff right here. Right? What is that? 1156. Ugh, sorry, I can't write today. 1156 minus, so 4 times 15 is 60. Times negative 16, well, if 6 times 16 is 96, then this is going to be plus 960, right? Be careful about that minus sign. Minus minus becomes plus. All over 30, right? And then this becomes negative 34 plus or minus square root of 2116 all over 30. We can actually reduce this a little bit further, right? Negative 34 over 30, right? We can split the fraction. It's going to give us negative 17 over 15, and it turns out that the square root of 2116 is actually 46, or negative 46. But when we take the square root, we're taking the positive, right? We're adding and subtracting it, so do it just once. 46 over 30, better way to write that would be 23 over 15, right? So I guess what we could do is say this is really, I guess I probably should have just written this as one thing, right? This should have been negative 34 plus or minus 46 all over 30. All right, and so then this becomes, I guess you could say it's either 12 over 30, which is what, 6 over 15. Oh, I guess you divide by 6 and get 2/5. Or, right, if you subtract 46, then you're getting negative 80 over 30, which is the same as negative 8/3. Okay? So those are your two answers, believe it or not. X equals 2/5 or negative 8/3. Now what if we take a look at number 2, right? Here we're going to use the quadratic formula. I'm not going to write that, but we're going to get negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And this equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 21 all over 2. There's really no way to reduce that, right? So there are two solutions. Maybe if we want to be a little bit nicer and write this in a sentence, we could write the solutions are blah. Okay? Now here's a question. Note that I wrote that there were two solutions, right? Two solutions for number 1, two solutions number 2. How can we determine the number of solutions that an equation is going to have? The answer is, if b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, then there are two real solutions. Right? Because you're adding and subtracting something. If b squared minus 4ac equals 0, then there's one real solution. And that's going to be negative b over 2a. Whoop. 2a. Right, because you're not adding and subtracting the square root anymore. And lastly, if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, then we've got a problem, right? Because you can't take the square root of a negative number. Then there are no real solutions. And you just write that there are no real solutions. Maybe we'll get rid of the exclamation point, okay? That's all for today. Thanks.